Assalamu alaikum and welcome. Today we're going to dive into a really powerful passage from the Quran. It's a section that gets right to the heart of some of the biggest questions we face, like what should our moral compass really be? How are we held accountable for our choices? And maybe most beautifully, where can we find signs of a deeper meaning in the world all around us?
So right off the bat, the passage throws us into this conflict that feels so incredibly relevant today. It's this tension between just following tradition versus sticking to a higher, divine truth. When you're faced with an action and you're not sure what's the final authority, is it what we've always done, or is it something else? And you see it right here, laid out so clearly. The excuse is simple, almost childish. Hey, we're just doing what our fathers did. But the answer, the rebuttal, is immediate and absolute. It establishes a core principle right then and there. You can't blame God for something that's immoral. This just completely rejects blind tradition as an excuse for doing wrong.
Okay, so if that's how we've always done it isn't a good enough reason, then what is our guide? Well, the passage doesn't leave us hanging. It immediately lays out a clear moral framework. You can almost see it as two distinct paths, defined by a simple checklist: what God commands and what He forbids.
This first path, it's all about what you should do. It's constructive, it's positive. We're called to be just, to be sincere in our worship, and to find this beautiful balance in life. This isn't about rejecting the world. It's about enjoying God's blessings, the food, the drink, the nice things, but always, always with moderation and a sense of gratitude, never tipping into excess.
And then you've got the flip side, the clear ethical boundaries, the things to stay away from. Of course, there's immorality, whether it's out in the open or done in secret. There's sin and unjust aggression. But pay close attention to these last two. They're presented as the things that corrupt faith right at its source, associating partners with God, and, this is a big one, speaking about God without any real knowledge.
Now these two paths, they're not just abstract ideas. The passage makes it super clear that they lead to very, very different places. And the ultimate destination, the consequences of our choices, really seem to hinge on our inner state. It boils down to this fundamental struggle between arrogance and humility.
And what we learn is that humanity kind of splits right down the middle based on this. And for those who end up going astray, the real issue isn't just making a mistake. It's a kind of self-deception. The text says they follow false allies while they thought that they were guided. It's a really sobering thought, isn't it? That you can be sincerely wrong, but still be wrong.
And for the people who are not just in denial, but are arrogant about it, wow, the imagery here is just unforgettable. It's this powerful hyperbole that basically means impossible. It's not just that the gates of mercy are locked. It's like they're sealed shut by a barrier that's as impassable as trying to get a camel through the tiny eye of a needle.
And look at this direct cause and effect. It's so clear. The actions, denying the signs, and being arrogant towards them, they lead to a specific, vivid consequence. The imagery is meant to be felt, A bed and coverings of fire, it really emphasizes the stark reality of where that path leads. Okay, but then you get this incredible contrast. Just look at the reward for the believers. It's not just about the physical stuff like gardens and rivers. The text focuses on something deeper, a profound inner change, the complete removal of any resentment, any bitterness, any ill will from their hearts. Their biggest reward is a state of perfect inner peace.
And again, you see that same principle, right? The reward is directly linked to what they did. The cause is their belief combined with good deeds, and the effect is both that incredible inner peace and the inheritance of paradise. It's this consistent theme of accountability that just runs through the entire passage. And this verse, honestly, this is one of the most beautiful and reassuring principles in the entire Quran. Divine justice is always balanced with mercy. The standard isn't some impossible perfection. It's about striving to do good within the capacity you've been given. No one is ever burdened with more than they can actually handle.
Okay, so we've seen the two main destinations, but what about the people who are, somewhere in the middle? Those who don't fit neatly into either category? The passage introduces this really fascinating third space, a place of nuance that exists between the two extremes.
This is where we get the concept of Al-Araf, the heights, which is actually what this chapter of the Quran is named after. It's described as a partition, an elevated place, and on it, our people's good and bad deeds are perfectly balanced on the scales. They're in this state of waiting, this moral gray area, where they can see both outcomes but haven't been sent to either one yet. So from this high place, this partition, they can actually see into paradise. They recognize the people there and call out, "Peace be upon you." The text says they desperately long to join them, but they can't. Not yet. Their whole being is filled with this profound hope and yearning.
But then they turn their gaze the other way, and the feeling is completely different. Their hope is met with an equally powerful fear. When they see the fates of the wrongdoers, they just plead with God, praying, "Our Lord, please don't put us with them." They're living in this intense balance between hope and fear.
And then that tension, that waiting, it's finally resolved. In this absolutely beautiful display of divine mercy, their prayer is answered and their hope is realized. They're told, "Enter paradise," and they're given this assurance that the fear and the grief are over. It's a powerful statement that, in the end, mercy can be the factor that tips the scales.
So, to wrap all of this up, the passage does something amazing. It takes all these big spiritual ideas about choice and mercy and accountability, and it brings them right back down to earth. It uses a stunning metaphor from the natural world to teach us about our own inner spiritual lives.
You know this cycle, right? The winds kick up, bringing good news of rain. Then these heavy clouds roll in, and they're driven over land that's totally dry and dead. And then the rain falls, and miraculously, life and fruit spring up from that very same dead soil. And of course, this isn't just about weather patterns. The Quran connects it directly. This miracle we see every year of the earth being revived is a direct sign for an even greater one, the resurrection. The logic is simple and powerful. If God can bring life from dead soil, he can certainly bring forth the dead from their graves.
And then the metaphor gets even more personal. It's not just about the land out there. It's about the land inside of us, our hearts. A good, receptive heart is like fertile soil. When the rain of guidance falls on it, it produces abundant good. But a hard, ungrateful heart, it's like bad soil. That same rain falls, but almost nothing good comes from it, except with great difficulty.
So when you step back and look at the whole picture, it's just this incredible interwoven message. It's telling us that our moral core has to be justice and truth, not just blindly following tradition. It reminds us that our choices matter, and that arrogance and humility lead to very different places. But through it all, there's this profound sense of hope in divine mercy. And finally, it's a call for us to open our eyes and see the signs of these deep spiritual truths in the world all around us.
And that's really the final thought it leaves us with. It's a powerful question, isn't it? The passage doesn't just want us to be passive observers of nature. It wants us to learn from it, to apply the lesson. It's asking each of us to look inward and ask, what am I doing to cultivate the soil of my own heart, to make sure that it's receptive to what is good and true and beautiful?